us a body. The beloved did not give you just a body, but he also gave you a soul. Use it. It's there. And that's what Rumi wants to do. Lift our soul by expanding our horizon, by expanding our vision. And that's what he's saying in here. He says, unfortunately, because you cannot see the soul in a physical way, then you think it's not there. Yet none, well, yet some, I guess, should be, is permitted to see the soul. You mind reading that again, please? Wonderful, the way you read it. I wish I could read like you.
That line?
Yeah, no, the next one.
This noise of the reed is fire, is not wind. Whoso hath not this fire, may he be naught.
One more, please.
'Tis the fire of love that is in the reed. 'Tis the fervour of love that is in the wine.
Now we come into the single most important concept in Rumi's life and writings. What is that? Love. Everything is love. Remember, I said before also that Sufis try to change that equation of an omnipotent God, an abstract God of Semitic religions, and replace that with a beloved. Theirs was Kisha Mehr, religion of love. And now he's coming to the single most important part of his first 18 lines. He's saying that all that noise, all that lament, all that sound, the music which comes out of the reed, what is that? What is the essence of it? It is love. And it's amazing that this Islamic poet is using love as the center of the gravity of all his writings. And no one probably knew Quran and Hadith better than Rumi, because he was teaching that for so many years. And there's not once the word love is used in Quran, the holy book. He's saying the noise of the reed is fire, and love to Rumi is fire. Love is not just something nice and soft and tender. It's also very fiery to him. Love engulfs you with fire as much as at the same time lifts you up. To Rumi, you see, the road is both agony of separation. This is important. It's both the agony of separation as well as the joy of union. That's really important. They're both of them. There is agony in separation, isn't it? Bond breaking is always difficult. And the bond is broken. There has been a fall. There has been fragmentation. But there's also anticipation of union, you see? And that's the wonderful part of it. So it's both of them. Agony of separation, joy of unification again. So he says, sorry, what line are we on? The noise of the fire. The noise of the reed is fire. It is not wind. It's not just hot air, he says, okay? That thing which comes out of the reed is not just hot air. It is real fire. And whoso had it just you know, I'll give you a little secret. Don't tell anyone. Don't get old. My eyes are not what they used to be. Okay. This noise of reed is fire. It's not wind. Whoso does not have, okay, there may be just a little bit of a typo there as well. Does not have this fire is what? Dead. You're only a body then. It's that little reed, right, which is a dead wood. And if you don't blow on it, if you know noise is coming out of you, you're just basically nothing. That's all he's saying there. Anyone who does not have love, does not express his love, is a dead wood. It's fire of love that is in the reed. That's that noise, that essence which is coming out of it. The fervor of love that is in the wine. You know, when you make wine, process of fermentation, what happens? Bubbles come. And what do you get? You're turning anything biodegradable, any sort of sugar or any sort of fruit, you could turn it into wine. What happens? It's that love which causes that to turn it into something which you could. And of course, the wine which he's talking about is spiritual wine. Unlike Hafiz, which does both of them, he's essentially talking about spiritual wine here. The reed is the comrade of everyone who has been parted from a friend. Its veins pierced our hearts. Well, he said that before, that only people who've been separated can understand and identify with someone who has this sort of pain. So that's why the reed is a comrade. I'm just going to go through this. I'm running out of time here quickly. And I do have musicians waiting, so if I could just maybe quickly go over the rest of these here. Would you mind reading those again, please? Be a bit faster. And
How far would you like to read?
just read the whole thing, why don't we? And then I'll just pick up the important parts of it.
The reed is the comrade of everyone who has been parted from a friend. Its strains pierced our hearts. Whoever saw poison and antidote like the reed, whoever saw a sympathizer and a long lover like the reed.
Excuse me, just stop there. What is that now? Remember, I was just telling you about the agony of separation and the joy of unification. That's what it is. It's both a poison as well as antidote, you see. It's not, the road of love is not really a nice freeway. It's a very bumpy road. And it's just like that salmon. Not every salmon makes it there, right? And those who make it eventually end up like that salmon, right? Soft, tender, exposed. Every bit of life evaporating from their bodies. Finally, they make it there. And that's what he's talking about in here. It's called poison because it's such a hard, long, bumpy road. As well as once you make it there, you're home. Thank you.
The reed tells of the way full of blood and recounts stories of the passion of Majnun. Only to the senseless is this sense confided. The tongue hath no customer save the ear. In our woe, the days of life have become untimely. Our days travel hand in hand with burning griefs. If our days are gone, let them go, 'tis no matter. Do thou remain, for none is holy as thou art. Whoever is not a fish becomes sated with his water. Whoever is without daily bread finds the day long. None that is raw understands the state of the brain. Therefore my words must be brief. Farewell.
Thanks. Yeah, I'll go against the current. I'll start from the lowest part, which I still remember. And remember the lady here was talking about that poem, how with them fish and soup. I was raw, I was cooked, and I was burnt finally. That's what he's talking about. It's that road which I was talking about. It's that salmon story again which I was talking about. By the time you get there, basically every bit of your latent energy has evaporated from your body. It's not there anymore. And by then you're just totally cooked, if not burnt. The word Majnun there refers to a very famous story in Persian literature. It was a love story which I have at Said Nizami. And if you have read the story of Majnun, Majnun was the boy who fell in love with Layli. You see what exactly, those of you who read it, you know, is alluding to that story, and that's a very long, important, just let me know when it's time for them to come, Shiva. What time are we supposed to start our thing in there? Oh, it's right in here. 3 o'clock, and I've got 5 minutes. Can I just do a bit more if I may? Yeah, I'm not even half finished with what I really thought I could do in this hour, but let me just quickly do this. When he's talking about a fish, what is it really talking about? He says, whoever is not a fish becomes sated with his water. Remember that capital letter, his. Again, I would have preferred her. But what's he talking about there? You see, a Sufi is never completely satisfied with having that beauty of him unveiled to him for just one moment. He wants that every moment, and to see that every moment, you have to work on it. The fish in here represents the traveler, the journeyman, the wayfarer. That fish, everyone else, you may just go and have a swim and get out of the ocean or the pool, and that's it. You're happy. Not a fish. You may just go and do a prayer for 5 minutes and feel like, you know, you did your duty to your to your God, and leave it at that. Go back to your own everyday business. Not a Sufi, not Rumi. He says this is something constant. This fish is never, ever finished. Is never satisfied. He just keeps working at it. At the same time, look at the second part. Whoever is without daily bread finds the day long. Those people, and you know, a Sufi who's doing this, he has no sense of time. He doesn't care. Let the days go, he says, in one of the lines in there. Makes no difference. Remember what I said also before, that this is just a journey. It's a transition state. We have come in here, we started from inanimate objects into plants, from plants into animals, from animals into man, and now he's saying from man into something higher. Later in the same poem, that poem of evolution, spiritual evolution, he's saying that I'm not even satisfied to become an angel. That's not good enough for me. I'm going to go way, way, way beyond that. And this is unlike that other person, someone who is working for that physical thing, his daily bread. For him, that's a long day, isn't it? sometimes we say in everyday life, we say, I had a long day. You see that? That's really what he's talking about. Okay, yeah. I think I best stop in here before my musicians leave me. I know they are, so I'm not late. I'm on time. At least for them. Thanks very much. So, please let him come. Now, let's just take no more than this. I want 2 minutes, if you may, if you want to just go outside, wash or whatever, and come back in. Let's 3 minutes, sharp. In 3 minutes, we're going to start, okay? Please do come back, because once they get started, they don't like people to interrupt, okay? Just before we begin this part of the program, I'd like to just introduce our musicians and our dancers. I'm standing in here as if I have really running this thing. There's so many other people who have contributed in here that I really feel obliged to quickly thank them. Starting with Shiva, Mushtababi, who's been really the force behind this. Her brother, Shahram, very quiet, low-profile man who has done a lot behind the scenes. These musicians, my friends, I gave them just one call, and they volunteered. No questions asked. They were happy to come. It really touches me here, you know. They were so happy to come and do something. And it's not for me, it's not for anyone, it's for Rumi. So they were so happy to come. I really, really thank you. Jafar Mufti. Multi-talented Adnan Sediri, a former student, now a graduate electrical engineer, who did a lot of work for me, and I just can't thank him enough, including all the computer work, helping with the program, everything else. So I really, really thank you. And of course, Nima, wonderful Nima Badi here, and and our wonderful, wonderful dancers. Again, they're doing this for Rumi. I did not know Raqib before. Indu Rakia was put in touch with me by mostly my friend here, Jafar, who also been so obliging. Every time we had a poetry night at home, he just comes there, he, you know, arranges to get the night off. I think he's actually looking for an excuse. And he comes and he plays, and I can't thank him enough. And it's through him mostly, and as well as Shiva. I was put in touch with by the dancers in here. Ragib Burke, his wife, Linda Moore, and his wonderful daughter, Mira Burke. Can I also very quickly, and this is it after this, I need to also thank a lot of other people behind the scene there. Ali Rasef, Ramine Jubin, Amir Qabadini, Amir Nejat, Zohre Ansari, Thank you, Zore. Baharak Farukhnia. I'm a wonderful, wonderful ex-student who carried all those heavy books for me. Ali Fakhari. My very good friend here, Armahana Sahib Jan, a talented lady which you probably recognize from Vancouver National Horse Ballet Group. Two of my wonderful, wonderful A-plus students, former, one a pharmacist and the other one a graduate also, going into dental school, Hariya Shahidi and Humane Tarasi. And my other very wonderful, wonderful human being, Aida Moshiri. Thank you all. Thank you. time he starts with the story and then, you know, he's got so much more to say. He says, this speech has no ending. Now, I really wanted to get into some of these stories of Masnavi and look into some of the inner meanings of some of those stories, but I also have the topic of Rumi and the question of woman. Now, it's going to be a hard choice. Which one do you want me to continue with? Women? Obviously. And I think that is such an important question also. You know, Persian literature, I hate to tell you, has not been very friendly to women. It really hurts me because I love Persian literature. And there are times when I just feel like I'm not going to ever read this poet again. But you can't do that. Let me, before I talk about Rumi's attitude towards women, let me just read a couple of passages from a couple of very well-known writers and poets. The reason I like to do this is because you have to, when you read Rumi and his attitude towards women, you got to put it into context. Not everything Rumi says about women also makes me very happy. But he's really not saying it himself often, and it still doesn't make me feel comfortable, even when he's really quoting other people. But on the whole, I think Rumi has been very consistent with Sufi attitude towards females. He is really quite a pro-feminist. I think he is actually a radical poet when it comes to the question of women. Let me just very quickly, I meant to do more of this, but I'm not going to have time. But let me just quickly point to at least a couple of these people which are well known. One of them is Muhammad Ghazali. And those of you who are into Sufism may also know him. Not that he was a Sufi, he was a fundamentalist who actually was a very bright man who lectured in the University of Baghdad for a while. He is well known. He's the biggest single most important authority in Islamic laws, Islamic studies. Now, I won't go into details of his life, but I do want to, these are all in Persian, and I can just, again, scribble in here those, and I'll try to just read them to you as, just to give you a bit of a taste of the way females been looked upon by these very eminent, influential people. In his book Kimya-i Saadat, he says, and one of the plagues of and acts of desire is love. Remember how Sufis look at love, right? It's a plague to him. And that plague is love, which is the source of great sins. Now, Sufis normally don't even like to talk about sins. We know William Blake again, I'll go back to him over and over. He doesn't like the word sin. He calls it an error. We all make errors. To err is human. But he calls it sin. Love is sin to him. And when he's saying that, he's talking about women. He says, do not look at women. And the prophet, he says, peace be upon him, says that looking is an arrow from arrows of Iblis. That's Satan, right? Impregnated with poison. And whoever controls his eyes will be endowed with such faith that sweetness enters his heart. And the prophet, peace upon him, said that when I die, I leave my flock with no greater calamity than women. This is Muhammad al-Ghazali, by far the best known, the only, one and only, the unique authority in Islamic laws, and that's what he used to teach. And he's got all kinds of books. This is from one of those I have given you here. And know that no seed of corruption, he says, no seed of corrupted immorality like that of association with women in parties, banquets, and public places. Now I guess we know why Islamic Republic of Iran goes to private parties and pulls women and young people out of there and punishes them. So there's a source in there. You know, you go back to the original source, you see so much of this stuff. Now this is a long one, I'm not going to, because I really want to get into Rumi if I can. But at the same time, as I said, you really have to put this into context. And then another part of the same book, he says, man's right with respect to women are greater than women's right with respect to men. Because a woman is in fact man's slave. I am translating this word by word from the Persian, and anyone wants to know the original source, I will give you the page and everything. So, she's obliged to stay home and must not step out without her husband's permission. Must not appear on the roof of the house and not associate much with neighbors and not talk and not ask for divorce. As Prophet, peace be upon him, said, I looked inside the hell. Most of its occupants were women. I'm sorry, I don't like to read this to you, okay? But I have no choice. We can't just keep shoving these things under the rug. We have to talk about it. That's the reality of it, okay? I looked inside the hell. Most of its occupants were women. I asked why. I was told because they damning their husbands and nagging and are ungrateful. that means to their husbands. Now let me talk about one of the 5 most important poets of Iran, Sadi. His place in Persian literature is same as that of